We are Siouxland proud. This is KCAU9 News at 10.
And thanks for being with us on this Thursday evening. I'm Tim Seaman.
And I'm Sophie Erber. Today, President Joe Biden addressed the nation for the first time following Donald Trump's Election Day victory and second term in the White House.
The president says that this election can lay to rest questions about the integrity of the American electorate system. KCAU9 Washington correspondent Raquel Martin has the details in our top story tonight at 10.
President Biden's main message to the country, especially voters out there disappointed by the election results, is the country will be okay. It's a similar tone the vice president took during her concession speech on Wednesday.
Setbacks are unavoidable, but giving up is unforgivable.
President Joe Biden with a message of hope and resilience after voters took to the polls Election Day and handed an overwhelming victory to President-elect Donald Trump.
We accept the choice the country made.
From the Rose Garden, President Biden pledged to fulfill his duty in the remaining weeks of his presidency.
74 days to finish the term, our term.
And ensure the next administration is prepared to take the reins.
We'll have a peaceful transfer of power here in America.
The Trump transition team is already in full effect. Those heading the operation say Trump will be selecting leaders to serve in his cabinet and beyond in the days and weeks ahead.
Rest assured that he will have the full backing of Republicans in the Senate.
Thanks to big wins for Republicans in Congress, Republican Senator John Thune says the GOP is ready to hit the ground running.
To move an agenda that's good for this country, that deals with taxes and extending the 2017 tax law, dealing with energy dominance, dealing with the high cost of regulation.
Thursday evening, President-elect Trump named his campaign manager, Susie Wiles, as the next White House chief of staff. President-elect Donald Trump has accepted President Biden's invitation to meet at the White House. The White House says a specific date has not yet been selected. For now in Washington, Raquel Martin, back to you.
All right, Raquel, thanks for that. Closer to home, tomorrow, the Woodbury County Auditor's Office will hold a post-election audit of its own for the general election results. Outgoing Auditor Pat Gill says that this is set to take place tomorrow at 2:30 in the absentee room on the lower level of the Woodbury County Courthouse. Gill adds that the audit board will hand count the presidential and county sheriff races in Precinct 38, which are the city of Cushing, as well as Rock Township. The South Dakota Secretary of State's office, meanwhile, almost 70% of registered voters in the state cast ballots in the general election. That's the report from today. More than 436,000 ballots to be exact. Looking at the southeastern part of the state, Clay had more than 67% of its registered voters cast more than 5,700 ballots. Meanwhile, in Lincoln County, nearly 76% of registered voters went to the polls. That was just more than 37,000 ballots that were dropped. In Union County, closer to Sioux City, 70.5% of voters went to the polls, casting about 8,900 ballots. And finally, in Yankton County, a little more than 74% of folks went to the polls, resulting in some 11,000 ballots to be cast.
Voters in the Rushmore state also saying that the way the primary elections are will not be changing. 65.5% of people said no to Amendment H, which would have allowed for a top two open primary system. The top two candidates, regardless of party, would have advanced to the general election. Opponents of the measure say South Dakotans like how things are currently.
I think the people in South Dakota really want to keep their party system. They know what a Republican is and they know what a Democrat is. They may not know who the candidates are, but they really know the party. And so I don't think they want to do away with that.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the South Dakota Open Primary said in a statement, quote, "We are disappointed in the vote, but are proud of our effort and of our team," end quote.
Another measure on the ballot in South Dakota was Referendum 21, which stems from Summit Carbon Solutions' proposed CO2 pipeline. 59% of the folks voting said they were against that so-called landowner Bill of Rights. 41% voted yes. The measure is Senate Bill 201, which allows counties to impose a $1 per foot subcharge on carbon dioxide pipelines. It requires pipelines to be buried at a minimum depth and also requires business operations to begin within 5 years of the easement. Summit released a statement on the results saying today, quote, Summit Carbon Solutions will apply for a permit in South Dakota on November 19th of this year. Our focus continues to be on working with landowners and ensuring the long-term viability of ethanol and agriculture in the state. Projects like ours have successfully navigated South Dakota's existing regulatory landscape in the past. We will continue to operate within the current framework, knowing that the future of ethanol and agriculture is vital to our shared success.
Tomorrow, Sioux City's first new roundabout set to be open to the public for traffic starting at 8 in the morning. The roundabout located at the intersection of Christie Road and Southern Hills Drive. The project began on June 17th. Originally, many residents voiced some concerns about having a roundabout in their community, such as potential traffic delays or even problems for emergency service access, but they eventually have come around to it. The roundabout will include new water mains, storm sewers, and sidewalk crossings. It's anticipated to create a better flow of traffic, too. Well,
caregiving can really be a lot for a person to take on. Sometimes the work even goes completely unnoticed.
That's right. And KCAU9 News reporter Alyssa Tatch is sharing with us how Siouxland's wellness providers found a fun way to recognize those workers.
Thanks, Tim and Sophie. November is National Care at Home Month, and to celebrate, several local health organizations came together to participate in Sioux City's first Caregiver Olympics.
I was watching the Olympics this summer and I was thinking of something fun to do with our caregiving team, and then I was at a meeting with some of these others and I floated the idea to them and they said that would be awesome.
In honor of National Hospice and Palliative Care Month, 9 Sioux City caregiving teams went head-to-head competing in a relay race with specialized in-home care tasks.
A lot of bed making happens in homes. We strip beds and wash the sheets and put them back on, so that's obviously an important part of caregiving. The sorting of socks, we do a lot of laundry, and then the dressing of somebody. Sometimes people need help getting dressed, and then of course we make all kinds of meals, not just peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but we thought that would be a fun way to highlight some of the things that caregivers do in the home.
While the event was a way to bring awareness to Siouxland's several home care options, it was also a way to recognize the hard work caregivers provide every day.
It's unseen a lot of times, because a lot of times it's a family member caring for a family member. And so we just want people to know that if you need help caring for somebody at home, there's somebody here that can help, because it's important for caregivers, especially family caregivers, to get a break. Because it's hard being a caregiver.
Despite the friendly, competitive atmosphere, all 9 teams shared one common goal.
While we might be competitors, at the end of the day, our main goal is to care for patients and make sure that our patients and their loved ones are taken care of. That is our main goal. I think it's just so great that we can all come together and just really showcase to Siouxland all of the avenues that are available for them.
Care Initiatives Hospice took home the first gold medal in Caregivers Olympics, along with several gift cards to local shops and restaurants. From Sioux City, Alyssa Tatch, KCAU9 News.